It's winter time again in Minnesota, and it's time for Stories for the Season. Hello, I'm your impromptu host, Leroy Harris from the Ulm Public Library, and we're very grateful to partner with NUCAT, the State Street Theater Company, the Brown County Historical Society, and the Grand Center for Arts and Culture. Each year in Stories for the Season, we bring you a selection of stories and vignettes related to winter and the holiday season that center around the theme. You may notice I'm not in the library at the moment. I'm actually over at the Grand Center for Arts and Culture, and we're very excited because our theme this year, Holiday Recipes, will involve us using the Grand's kitchen. We hope you enjoy the different segments about holiday recipes taken from old cookbooks in the archives of the Historical Society. There are lots of interesting directions and quirks, as well as some small stories to go along with them, and we'll be doing taste tests of a lot of the recipes too. We hope you enjoy this year's Stories for the Season.
Hi, I'm Mike. Welcome to Stories for the Season, and today I have a recipe for peanut brittle that comes to us from the Historical Society's cookbook. The ingredients as listed are 1 1/2 cup of white sugar, and a 1/2 cup of white syrup, 1/3 cup of water, and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. They have additional ingredients that are not listed in the main section underneath, and that is 2 cups of raw peanuts, a teaspoon each of vanilla extract and baking soda, and another 1/4 cup of butter. I find when you are making the initial setup that it's really important to incorporate the water, sugar, and syrup together by stirring really well before you bring the candy to a boil. I made this batch twice. The first time I paid attention, I stirred and stirred and stirred, made sure that was all one kind of homogeneous syrup before I bring it to a boil. The second time, I was feeling real confident and like kind of lazy, and I just sort of left it a little bit grittier. And I found that it took longer to boil, and when it did finally boil, the candy came out tasting a little bit burnt. So I would say just make sure you take the time on that initial step before you bring it to a boil to make sure that syrup and the sugar is incorporated together. So after you've stirred that together, you bring the candy to a boil, and you just kind of let it boil until it reaches, in the ingredients, in the directions here, it says a medium brown color, but I just used a candy thermometer, and you want to bring it to about 300 degrees. It'll take a while to get there, and it'll hover at about like 150 degrees for like a while, to the point where you think to yourself, is this right? Am I doing this right? But no, you're doing it right. You just got to wait. Have patience, and then don't get distracted, because when it does start to rise in temperature, it's going to happen fast. It'll go from 150 degrees to 300 degrees in maybe a minute or two. So if you walk away, don't walk away for too long. Otherwise, you'll come back to burnt candy. Once it reaches that desired temperature, you want to take the peanuts, the butter, and the vanilla and soda and pour those into the mixture and stir them in really quickly. You want to get all that incorporated as fast as possible, because the second you take it off the heat, which you should do at that step, it's going to harden really fast. And you don't want it to harden in your cooking vessel. You want to be able to turn it out onto a well-greased pan, or I used some parchment paper in a rimmed pan, and that worked great. So once you turn it out onto the pan, you just leave it to cool for maybe an hour or so, and you should be able to shatter it, and it should come out in nice little, readily identifiable, delicious brown peanut brittle pieces. So Leroy, you want to come give it a taste?
Yeah. John, you want to join us?
Yeah, come on in. Now, my mother used to make peanut brittle all the time when I was a kid, and it was one of my favorite things she would make. So I was very excited to try this recipe.
Now, did she make it year-round, or did she make it?
It was always a Christmas treat for us.
Okay.
And it was like I would look forward to it from like October on. After all my Halloween candy was gone, I was thinking to myself, ooh, when Mom make a peanut brittle?
It's got a nice crisp snap.
Yep.
And it's not too hard when you bite into it.
Mm-hmm.
Your mom would be proud, Mike.
I hope so.
Very good, delicious.
We'll go ahead and give it a try at home.
We hope you're enjoying this year's Stories for the Season, a collaboration between the Ulm Public Library, NUCAT, the State Street Theater, the Grand Center for Arts and Culture, and the Brown County Historical Society. This year, we'd also like to give a special thank you to the Friends of the Ulm Public Library for providing all the ingredients for the recipes that we tried out. And if you'd like to try them for yourself at home, give it a go. See how they work for your holiday party.